Hello, and welcome to Hidden Treasures of Israel, presented by the Jewish Federation of Cincinnati. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Jason Shapira, and I am the chair of the Israel and Overseas Programming Committee. I am delighted to see that over 40 of you have joined us for this journey, and I'd like to thank so many of you who use this opportunity to also make a donation to our 2021 annual campaign. Your gifts are critical to supporting important programs that help those in need and enrich the lives of so many people in our community. It is so appreciated. I'd also like to thank our Israel and Overseas leadership team for their guidance and support in our program planning process. Many thanks to Gary Greenberg, VP of Israel and Overseas, Karen Goodman and David Weiskopf, co-chairs of the I&O Committee, and Noga Meliniak, our representative in Israel, who had the vision for this unconventional tour of hidden treasures along the Israel Trail. And now I'd like to introduce you to Karmit Arbel, our tour guide direct from Israel. Karmit has been guiding hikes and tours since 1997. Her varied experience additionally includes ecology studies at Ben-Gurion University, founding and managing the Cinematheque of Dimona, and training others in sustainability in the land of Israel. Throughout our tour today, we will have the opportunity to see and experience a more uncommon side of Israel. Should you have any questions, please write them out using the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen, and we will be sure to get answers when the opportunity arises. Additionally, live captioning is available using the CC button, also at the bottom of your screen. With that, I will now hand the reins over to Karmit to begin.
So hi everyone and welcome to Israel. This is my best way to welcome you at the airport. I guided in the last year and a half over 70, I would say, days of virtual tours. And this is what I do as a tour guide. I make fun of myself that until now I was suffering more jet lag than all the rest of my guided people that were sitting comfortably in their chairs. So it was a while that I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, guiding people from the other side of the world. So I'm very happy, by the way, that we all agreed about a normal hour today, and it's still sun outside here in Israel. So welcome to Israel. We just landed here and we're expecting a wonderful day together. And because we're starting all the way down in the south next to Eilat, we're going to hop now back on the airplane. Today, we're going to go all the way south. So we're leaving the airport of Ben Gurion airport that most of you been visited in the past. And we're going to head straight to the new airport of Ramon airport that is next to Eilat. We're going to fly over the craters and the desert and the Negev. I don't know if you had a chance to do so in the past, because usually when you fly from the States to Israel, you arrive over Tel Aviv, very excited from it, and then boom, you land. You don't see most of Israel. This part allows us to see 60% of Israel while we're crossing over, and we have the really amazing opportunity to see the big craters. I don't know if you know, but the craters in Israel are the only craters in the world that are considered to be machteshim. Machtesh, which is a formation that is a crater, is not created by, I would say, asteroids or anything else. It's erosion. It's a very, very interesting and local process geologically that happened millions of years ago. So you can see below us now the small crater, and it's a really interesting and beautiful phenomena. And we're just landing in the Ilan and Asaf Ramon airport. It's a new airport. In the past, when you wanted to fly domestically inside of Israel, you would fly directly inside the city. Honestly, it was very scary experience because you fly almost into the hotels. And also from security reasons, they took out the airport from the city itself, and now it's approximately 15 minutes ride from Eilat, but also because it allows us to accept international flights. And that's something really, really spectacular, because a lot of people not coming to Israel just to see Israel. They're coming for a vacation. They hear about this place that they can sit next to the sea with the mountains of the desert, and they can enjoy it in December and January and have wonderful weather, but also because they want to visit Petra or visit Wadi Rum in Jordan. And then they see low cost flights going directly to Israel because they want to go to Jordan. But that also allows us economically to attract more tourists. That Israel was not part of their destination, but now it's more accessible and more attracting, because if you're already going for 3 days to Petra, why not staying a few more days in the Arava and in Eilat? And that's something that is very promising. The airport was just opened a few months before the corona crisis started, so we didn't really have the opportunity to see how big impact it has, but hopefully we'll see it soon. And now you are pretty much the first people that are using it, almost. From here, we're gonna hop on our bus, and I hope you are all brought your swimsuits and some maybe snorkeling gear, because we're gonna do some diving and have fun. I'm hopping on my bus. Hope you will join me, and here we go. So Eilat is a destination that a lot of times people don't really visit it because it's far. If you come to Israel and you're having a 10-day tour and you have to go to Jerusalem for at least 3 days, and you want to see the north and you want to see the south, to take a whole day of driving all the way to Eilat is usually a luxury that people don't do. But when they have time, or they already been several times in Israel, they say, you know what, let's go all the way far to the south, and they realize it's a real pearl. It's a beautiful, beautiful city, sits on the sea of on the Red Sea shore. Beautiful corals, beautiful high mountains, and really nice touristic hotel. And you can see that here we can go and dive. And actually, if you don't have a diving license, we can also snorkel and see really rich coral life. By the way, this is the northest point in the world that you can see such a rich coral life. And this is, by the way, me, while I had the privilege of actually tapping a fish that for some reason think that I was friendly enough to come so close to. I was doing this because I was doing a genetic research about the fish in the Red Sea, and I'm not going to start talking about it too much because it's another lecture by itself. But because it's such a unique endemic area, locked in between those mountains, such north part of the world, we have very, very varied and interesting life story, ecologically reason wise, and also very delicate. We are suffering from a very, very delicate situation, and a lot of times we see that even massive rain can bleach half of the coral reef just because it brings lots of sand from the mountains and it influences the whole reef. So we have a real treasure in our hand, and we need to learn how to use it and also preserve it. One of the beautiful things that we also have is a dolphin reef, and that's a really nice option for people to come and see the dolphins from close. You can see they are not in aquariums, they are actually in the sea, and they are being closed in a big reef because they used to be open and going out back and forth to the sea, but then we realized that because they got used to people so much, they are not really understanding that not everybody are friendly. And that was a problem because they meet on the way some people that don't know how to behave them and try to ride on them. So in order to protect them, they close the reef, but it's a very, very big surface that the dolphins live in, and they're pretty much live in the sea, and they're just not connected to the big ocean. And this allows us to come and see them from close. Some people dive there and snorkel with them, and some, just as you can see, the kids here are lying on the bench, lying on the floor, and seeing them from close. And one of the fun part is that you can also do in this place is a very, very beautiful and relaxing spa that I invite you to take, because I assume that you all have suffering a bit of jet lag after your long flight to Israel, and we can do some watsu. There is under the water music. We're lying in the water and hearing the music through our ears, but it's quite interesting because our heads are in the water. The frequency that the music goes through is much faster. So actually, it sounds like the music is playing in your head while you're listening to it, because how fast the sound waves are passing is not like how it passed through air. So this is a nice time to relax and massage. And from here, we're gonna finish our visit in Eilat. I know it was short, but we have such a long day and we have lots of things to do. And we're gonna drive from here to our next stop, which is very interesting, outside of Eilat. We're gonna drive only 20 minutes long to the area of Yotveta, and we're gonna meet our next guest there. And our next stop, until Dorit will join us, is just in the other side of the road. We're gonna visit Ktorah. Ktorah is a very, very interesting village. And there is a wonderful environmental institute, international one actually. There are students there from Israel, from the Palestinian authorities, from Jordan, from United States. Everybody gathered there together in order to learn together about environmental problems, the regional problems, and actually getting over the bridges that are I would say coming from the other problems that we have in our region. I want to show you something a bit unique that there is in this lab. Jake, would you mind sharing with us the second movie? Okay, so...
Water, air, energy and land are shared environmental resources in the Middle East. As the conflict between Palestinians and Israelis persists, cross-border environmental problems will continue to plague the region and significantly increase tension. Only through cross-border cooperation can we manage our shared resources sustainably. To do this, first we must learn to trust each other.
Some people might say that water is the scarcest resource in the Middle East, but the truth is that the scarcest resource here is trust.
The problems are growing, the problems are increasing because we do not trust each other. We do not know each other. And the Arava Institute allows or helps these students to know each other first, then to build the trust.
Located on Kibbutz Keturah in southern Israel, the Arava Institute for Environmental Studies is an academic and research center. Its mission is to advance cross-border environmental cooperation in the face of political conflict.
The Arava Institute brings together Israelis, Palestinians, Jordanians, international students through our cross-border academic programs, research centers, alumni initiatives, conferences, and internships. We work together to tackle issues in the Middle East, such as climate change, water scarcity, sustainable agriculture, and renewable energy.
It actually uses the environment as the glue or the foundation that people can discuss in order to overcome whatever is happening in the Middle East and to bring them together.
Over the years, approximately 1,000 alumni from Israel, Jordan, Palestine, and around the world have studied, interned, and lived together while engaging in one of the most open, honest, and difficult dialogues about the future of the Middle East. Our students go on to engage in solving some of the most pressing environmental and social challenges of the region.
Nature does not know any border, and therefore cooperation is essential when we talk about environmental issues.
And we should somehow, I know it's very difficult to overcome our political dispute, so in order to try to solve the environmental problems. And I think at the end, that's what's really connects us all as human beings. We're part of nature, and nature is part of us. So that's why we should cooperate relentlessly trying to solve the environmental problems.
We can go from being a baby to an old man without never having the chance to be exposed to something different. And the Arava Institute is breaking that cycle. It's offering a window to the MENA region. It's offering a window to our neighbor. And without those initiatives, there's no future for the region.
To me, the Arava Institute is a beacon of hope in the future of the Middle East. When I sit with our students and I sort of take a step back and look around at the group, I often find myself with goosebumps just at how amazing it is what we're doing, and that so few places are bringing people together to build community and to say that there's another way, that there can be a peaceful solution here.
Thank you. So you've seen some of the uniqueness of the Arava Institute, and it's really an amazing place. One of the things that I would like you to see, oh, sorry, my computer decided to be independent. One of the, I would say, anecdotes, but really special things that you see when you enter the Arava Institute, except of all the research and the people that are there, this is special tree. His name is Metusalach. I don't know if you recognize the name from the Bible. We actually in Hebrew call it Metushelach. And what is so special about this tree is that it was sprouted from a seed that was found in Masada 2,000 years ago. I don't know if you know, I assume most of you know Masada. It's the #1 touristic site in Israel. In Masada, that was the palace of Herod the king 2,000 years ago. There are many, many storage rooms. You can see here from above. It's been said that Herod had there wine from Spain, fish soup from Italy, all kinds of things like that that were being found in a DNA test in some of the pots that were found. And one of the things that they found there in one of the storage rooms are date seeds. And the researcher that found those date seeds, 2,000 years old, were very, very interested in tasting what was the taste of the dates back then. And in Arava Institute, they succeed to sprout them and actually grow a tree from it. This tree is already, I think, maybe already 6 or 7 years old. And the problem was that it's a male tree. And everybody were really, really sad, you know, after we already sprouted a seed, 2,000-year-old seed, and we have a tree, no fruits. But very, very happy news. In the last year, they succeeded to sprout 2 more seeds. There are females, and there's a Chana female tree that succeeded to be a shidduch, and now we actually have some babies, and we're expecting to taste those dates that are coming from 2,000-year-old trees. So this is some small anecdote of one of the little research that are being done in the Arava Institute. And it's not part of the big story of solving all climate change and things like that, but this is kind of giving a taste of the uniqueness research that could be done in this area. And now we're actually gonna head towards our guest that talking to us directly from Kenya. Dorit, are you with us now? Somebody is gonna help me.
No, we still do not have Dorit.
Not yet. I've been told she's on. Okay. Dorit is the CEO of the Renewable Energy company. There is a really big development in this area to find solutions that are not only research-wise, but also very applicative to our world. And she's going to be our speaker in a few minutes. And now she's in Kenya, so that's why we have lots of logistic problems that we're trying to grab everybody from all around the world in one spot on the Zoom. But if she's still not on, I'm gonna jump to our next stop and we'll come back to Dorit. So Jake, just let me know because you see who enters and who not.
Yep, she is still not on.
She's still not on. Okay, so Dorit is like the Messiah. We're waiting patiently, and she will be with us. So we'll continue to our next stop, and then we'll go back to meet Dorit in a few minutes. So our next stop, to be honest, the last time I've been there, it took me 4 days of walking because it's such a remote area. It's a very, very beautiful and unique mountain. And we are lucky because, as you can see, we can invite guests from Kenya and from all around the world. And also we can do a Jeep tour virtually. So our next stop is gonna take us a very fast Jeep tour. To be honest, if it was in a real tour, it would take us at least 2.5 hours to go to Mitzpe Ramon, take the Jeep, then drive another 3.5 hours, then climbing all the way to the top. But this is the fun part of having magic virtual tours. We can do it quite fast. Take them off the Jeep. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry. My name is Moses. I'm sorry I took you off so fastly from the Jeep, but I have time tunnel. I don't have all day. I can't be with you all the time. So later on you can continue with your Jeep tour. But I understood that you came here because you're interested in more, I would say, authentic live evidence of what is Mount Sinai. So I want first to tell you, welcome. Mount Karkom is a very, very unique place. Let's talk honestly. There are many mountains that everybody say, this is Mount Sinai, this is Mount Sinai, this is Mount Sinai. We are Jewish, okay? We don't agree by definition. Okay. But first of all, this is why we have Christians in the world. We can come, let's say, we can count on them to help us, because officially the Pope declared Mount Karkom as Mount Sinai. So we don't have to agree with him. But if the whole Catholic Christian world believe in it, maybe it could be at least not a proof, but at least gonna make us feel more comfortable when we come here and we say, now you would say, okay, Moses, what's the deal? Why the Pope believed that this is Mount Karkom, this is Mount Sinai? And I can tell you, first of all, you know what? I will show you a friend of mine, really nice guy that was doing a research here. Wait. Okay. Wait, how do I do this? Virtually. Okay. Now you see, this is a nice guy. His name is Emmanuel Enati. Okay, he's a professor. He's already like 30 years hanging out here. He's really Michigan. He arrived here completely by mistake. He was doing research about paintings on the rocks, all kinds of curve paintings. And in this mountain, this is a very unique place. The elevation of this place is approximately 2,500 feet above sea level. Very nice mountain. But on top of it, there are over 1,300 archaeological site, okay? And there are all kinds of curvings in the rocks, very, very, very special. And he documented over 44,000, okay? Now, most of them are approximately 40,000 years old, okay? Now, we are in the middle of the desert. nowhere close by. It's not like we're in the middle of Cairo and all kinds of people were doing graffiti. Okay, we're in the middle of nowhere and there are lots of marks like this. Now, Emmanuel Enati really, he arrived here because he was studying this subject, but then he found more and more evidence that actually convinced him that this is Mount Sinai. And he became a real Michigani for that. And actually, he convinced the Italians that to convince the Pope that this is the real deal. Okay? And I want to show you some interesting things. You see where Emmanuel is talking now, also it's behind me. This is a nice rocks. And I want to quote to you something that, God asked me to write in his book. Okay, now I'm quoting. And Moses, me, wrote down all the words of the Lord. Early the next morning, he got up and built an altar at the base of the mountain, along with 12 pillars for the 12 tribes of Israel. I remember it like it was yesterday, okay? Now you can say, okay, Moses, come on. This look like an altar. I can tell you, first of all, I want you to see. Count with me, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on one side and another 6 on the other side. We have 12 rocks that are standing in a very interesting way. This is at the bottom of the mountain. Now you can say, okay, Moses, this is the altar. This is what you've been doing. You just talked to God, and this is what. Now I want to, tell you. God told me specifically. Now, if you make an altar for stones for me, you must not build it with a stone shaped by tools. For if you use a chisel on it, you will defile it. Okay, it wasn't my idea. Okay, I was not thinking to make it simple. God told me, don't start doing stuff, just lift them up, make it like a matzeva, like a rock that you put on top of a grave. Just lift them up and put it like 12 tribes. I was doing only what I've been told. So if it looks simple to you, that's because you live in a world that everybody are doing fancy stuff. But God specifically gave me orders how to do this. Now, okay, you maybe think, okay, this is interesting. At the bottom of a mountain, there are 12 rocks standing next to each other, like God told him. Okay, that's nice. What else? This is not convincing enough. And I want to show you another interesting thing. If you walk around just to the only water resource in this area, you find a rock with those special curves and paintings. Now, you don't need to be really with a very generous imagination to see that there are snakes, scorpions, okay? Now I want to tell you, he led you through the vast and terrifying wilderness with its venomous snakes and scorpions and thirsty and waterless land. He brought you water from the rock of flint. This is another hint, because this rock is very close to the only water resource. And you can see that there are snakes and scorpions. Okay, interesting. Not, a clear evidence that you will go to court with, but okay, another interesting idea, maybe. And I'm telling you, all I read you here are from the things that I wrote in the book of the Bible, describing how was Mount Sinai. Now, this is something interesting. Many people see this and they're like, what is that? It looks like an eye, but it also has, you can see, if you count the eyelashes, you count, it's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7 days a week. And the 7, that it's a holy number, but it's like the big eye that looks at you everywhere. Now you have to remember, before everybody believed in many gods. God asked me to come with this new startup. And he said, you know what? We're going to teach those people to believe in one God. There is one big eye that is looking at you. He's looking at your heart. He's knowing everything. This is kind of like something brand new that they need to learn how to work with. So this is another interesting something that, usually if you go to around the world and you see all kinds of diagrams of from ancient times. You know, people are showing how they hunted wolf, hunted some ibex, hunted. They don't paint spiritual things like big eyes or something like this. Okay, this was a spot that, no doubt, if it was Mount Sinai or not, this was a place that people gathered to worship something bigger, something that was much more spiritual than just, you know, let's come and have a party in Woodstock and eat barbecue. Okay, it's not this. Now, this is a very interesting rock. Look closely. What do you see? This is really in the shape of how we paint today the Ark of the Covenant, the Ten Commandments. Now count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, that sounds a bit familiar, huh? I'm gonna let you think about this, because this is something that is 4,000 years old. Okay, very interesting. But I want to show you the last thing. All around the mountain, there are images like this. Now, I know you are from the States, okay? When you see something like this, all you can think of is somebody lying on the floor and doing a snowman. Now, folks, we are not in the States. We don't have snow here. We don't do snowmen in the snow like this. This is something else, completely different, okay? Now, this is a bit more like this, okay? Now, does this look something more familiar? Not like this in the snow. This, okay? Okay, okay. Does it ring a bell? What about this? You know that the priest, when they pray, in the synagogue, oh, where does it came from? It come already from the temple. All the priests would go out, all the Kohanim, they will go out and look to the sun, through directly to the sun. They will do like this, so the sun won't burn in their eyes, and then they will do their praying. Now, you remember I told you I was bringing a startup to this world. I was bringing a new religion. But those priests, everybody I was, teaching them how to work, they come from more ancient traditions. They used to work for the god of the sun. They used to know how to work with the elements of nature, okay? So this movement of looking towards the sun and worshiping it, this is something that came from much more ancient tradition, okay? And we actually imported it inside our new religion, so people will feel comfortable because they know their religious leaders are doing this movement. They recognize it, but with new intentions, new words, okay? Now, it didn't never stop. The last guy that you actually know that converted to something else is this, my friend. Now, this guy, live long and prosper. Yeah, we got it exactly from this. Go Google it. You'll see that this really nice guy is actually a Jewish actor. And when he needed to bring some really important movement to the world, he decided to bring it from this. So, folks, live long and prosper. And I'm returning you to your tour guide and to your bus because I need to go. My time tunnel is about to open. And if I'm not getting on time, I'm stuck here in the mountain for who knows how long. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the visit. Come day one day. Okay, and now I understand that your tour guide is taking you to meet Dorit.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Dorit Bannett, and I'm the co-founder, and the CEO of Latino Renewable Energy. We are staying in the southern part of Israel. Eilat and Hevel Eilot is from Eilat and around before Mitzpe Ramon and Middle Arava. Huge area where we are 5,000 people in the Arava and 65,000 people in Eilat. We looked for many years for developing anchors. And 12 years ago, we found the renewable energy as potential develop anchor. And we make a huge strategy program. And what you see here is our strategic program. So I will go fast. We are a company owned, non-benefit company owned by the settlements, all the kibbutzim, and a representative of the town of Eilat. Capital Nature, that is an incubator, a VC that was established from our work, Yotvata Dairies, and a lot of other economic entities in the region. So what everybody wants to do, we want to make the region to be the Silicon Valley of renewable energy in Israel, and I think we succeeded. What you can see here, we now producing 190 megawatts from solar, 16 power station, all kind of business models on the ground, rooftops, and we are providing 150% from the energy demand of the region with Eilat city. Now in those days, we are continuing and putting storage, and hopefully in 3 years from now, we will produce 100% day and night, clean energy with solar and storage. Wait. So here you see some ground solar fields, and you can see some rooftops. We have from 1 kilowatt installed to 60 megawatt installed. This is the biggest solar station we have. This is all the business model, never mind. Okay, so we produce a lot of energy. The settlements are partnering the business development and they enjoy the revenues. The next step, or in row, what we did, we understood that renewable energy is totally about innovation. So we built a capital venture, that means capital nature, a CV. Right now is a private venture. It was with the government for the last 7 years. And we have 16 portfolio, very successful startups companies that sat in the Arava for 2.5 years, coming back to do all the pilots. 5 of them are being in the stock exchange already. And I think they're huge success with great revenues and a lot of business development in Israel and in abroad, in US mainly, and Europe, by the way. We are speaking about electric road. We are speaking about storage in pressed air. We are speaking about drones cleaning panels. We are speaking IT that control trucks so they won't go empty anywhere in the roads, and so on and so on. And I think we are a huge, this is a huge potential for the worldwide to reduce gas emission from our technologies. The second part, this is why I'm in Kenya right now, because we are also making innovation to the developing world. And in the developing world, we are doing a lot of cooking technologies, clean cooking technologies, off-grid solar station, water filtration, solar heaters for water. And then we have a new company. Last year, we opened a new company in Kenya that is a subsidiary company from our company in Israel. And we provide to all the farmers, there is a potential, look, clean cooking, 2% of gas emission in the world come from using charcoals for cooking. So when we are bringing the amazing Israeli new technology of home biogas, we have potential to make a change in the world, et cetera, et cetera. And I skip all the movies because we don't have a lot of time. Then after we have innovation, we all have also research and development. And in the local institutes of research and development, and with Arizona also university that we all cooperate with the JNF, we open departments of renewable energy for research in all kinds of aspects, and we have researchers, postdocs, students, and of course, a lot of researchers and professors that coming to the Arava to be part of this work. Training center, we built a training center in the Arava, training people, students, international conferences for very talented students, Academic courses, we work with Technion in Israel, with Tel Aviv University, with the Hebrew University, Afeka College, etc. They're coming for 1 week, all the engineers, economics, and policymakers, students coming here to learn renewable energy, clean technologies, and the new business development that we can do after finishing their studies. And they're getting 3 academic points for those courses. We train teachers from all over Israel and the local municipalities. Right now, we are going with the local municipalities, with the Ministry of Energy, and give them how to make clean energy a new strategy in their local municipality. We are working a lot in Eilat in green buildings, saving energy, with a lot of European grants. I won't get into it. We built a new green school that is off-grid school with solar energy, and everything is very isolated because we're living in the desert. We have a tourism because most of the economy is agriculture and tourism. So on the tourism part, we open a track for renewables, for ecology, and we have a lot of tourists until the corona, and now they're coming back. We brand ourselves. We have the international conferences, the biggest international conferences in Israel that will take place in December, the coming December. And we also won the bid of the Ministry of Economy to run the energy innovation community in Israel. Doing a lot of regulation, because without regulation, we do not do nothing. We're not a country inside, we are part of Israel. Doing a lot of activism work, because, you know, Israel working with gas, and now there are all kinds of options bringing oil from the Emirates, and we think it's wrong. So we're also part of this activism. And of course, this presentation is online. That means we have a wonderful website where you can see everything I showed here more carefully. We are all the media, social media. We have newsletters you can sign on. And this is, by the way, this is our project. It's 14 years work. We are in the middle of it. And I think we made a huge difference in the Arava and Eilat, by taking even Israel forward with the renewable energy. So questions? I made it as fast as I can.
Dorit, could you speak a bit about how the corona crisis has impacted the work there?
Look, in the field of renewable energy, the corona did not impact nothing, because people use energy and the business of energy is going forward. It doesn't need nothing except building fields and have tariffs and have regulation, and we worked. And I think you can see that in this year, this is one of the branches that did not only rise in this year, and not the opposite.
Thank you.
In Africa, we felt it, because in Africa, we are B2C, we are business to customers, and it was very hard to get to the farmers. And in Africa, we had a lot of obstacles, but right now everything is back open. It's corona still in Africa, but everything is open.
Thank you.
Toda, Dorit, and thank you for your time. And I hope one day we'll actually have the opportunity to come and visit you and see everything in live out there in the field. So Toda Rabba. And we'll from here continuing to our next stop. We're driving a bit up north along the Arava, and we're arriving directly to meet Noah.
Hi, my name is Noah Zer from Central Arava in Israel. Here in the Central Arava, 60 years ago, there was nothing here but a desolated land. With the help of the pioneers who came here, men and women, we've been able to turn this desert land into a blossoming garden. We don't waste any natural resources simply because we do not have a lot of natural resources. With a lack of water, extreme climate, and a very harsh condition, this desert is one of the hardest places in the world to grow agriculture in. So it's only obvious that with the help of the spirit of the pioneers, this community, with 1,000 families, is leading Israel's world-renowned agriculture industry, producing more than 50% of its fresh vegetable export. That's right, 50% of Israel's fresh vegetable export comes through the region with no water. How come? Knowledge, spirit, and chutzpah. And this is how you make a desert blue.
Hi, my name is Mayan Kitron, and I live in the Arava for the past 21 years. As soon as I understand that my husband is not the type of man that will bring me flowers, I decided to take things on my own. Inspired by the spirit of the women in the Arava that flourished the desert in the past 50 years, I'm today the head of the flower department at the R&D. Flowers are like children. They need to be grown with love and someone that they believe that they can grow even in the hardest condition. And this is what we do here, flourish the desert.
Making the desert bloom is a serious matter. It takes not just faith, but it takes a lot of science. And this is exactly what we do here at the Arava Research and Development Center in the middle of the desert, where scientists and local researchers are working together with the farmers of the Arava to invent new breed and to find out the best water efficient solutions and to create protocols to grow different crops here in the harsh Arava desert land. It takes a lot of courage to be able to believe that we can grow here in the desert, and we have proven it with the help of the Jewish National Fund that has been supporting the Research and Development Center for many years, understanding that in a farming community like the Arava, research and development is the heart of everything that goes on here. Dear WFI Cincinnati, we want to thank you, the women, for believing in the community of the Arava, for believing in the vision and turning it into reality. We wish that we were able to see all of you as soon as possible in the Arava and tell you in person how much it means to have you as our supporters. Thank you very much.
So as you've seen, there are only very few villages there. Most of them are farmers and growing most of the food that we are eating and exporting from Israel. But not long ago, there was a new village named Tsukim that was built. And the people there actually wanted to live not from agriculture. That was a real challenge, because what do you live from in the middle of the Arava, so far from everywhere? And they decided to be unique and actually bring their artistic world, and it's a village of artists. And you can see that there are many different artwork there. They are working with the surrounding that they live around, with the nature, with the wild desert, with the rocks, with the open air. And for example, here you can see one of the women is selling baskets that she's waving from the sansanim. Sansanim are the branches that the dates are growing on. And we have lots of dates in the Arava. So those are the leftovers. It's like garbage in a way, but she's taking it and reusing it and making baskets and using ancient techniques to wave it. And there are others that are making beautiful artwork from the special rocks that are around the village in the desert. And some of them decide to actually make it as a touristic attraction, saying people are looking for quietness. They're looking for watching the shooting stars, to sit in a hot tub in an empty world, watching only the mountains around. And they made lots of Airbnbs, all kinds of guest house and special huts for hosting people. And it became a very, very unique touristic attraction. People are coming there for special vacation, to relax, to have something different, not the usual vacation of going and party and being in the city and going out to a restaurant, but feeling the desert in its real power. And from here, I'm going to continue to our next stop. Just I'm asking if Noah is back with us, and if not, okay, so I'm taking you to dinner. And if not, we'll be back. Maybe we'll ask questions. And if not, we can maybe send, if you are welcome to send questions if you have. But from here, we're going to go to our dinner. And our dinner is in Yerucham. It's a bit far, but don't worry. Part of this magic of virtual tours that we're doing it really fast. Yerucham is a very, very interesting place because it started in the 50s as a ma'abara. Ma'abara would be pretty much like a camp with tents that they brought all the immigrants, the new immigrants in the 50s. To tell you honestly, I met lots of people that told me that their trauma was that they said they went on a bus or a truck. They've been told that they're being taken to Haifa or to Jerusalem or somewhere else. They were driving all day long, arrived in the middle of the night, been pushed off the truck or the bus and saying, "Here, we arrived." And they were like, where? And by the time they realized they have no idea where they are, the truck already left and they got stuck there. The story comes back in Dimona and in Yerucham, and many people in the 50s arrived to those places with no, I would say, specific intentions, and actually really didn't want to stay there, but didn't have how to run away. So in the 50s, there are all kinds of immigrants that came from Romania, later on from Morocco and from India, and Israel needed people to spread around the country, and they actually just pushed people to be pioneers with not really a choice, and that caused those places to be a bit, I would say, bitter in the few first years, because people been asked to be brave and strong without even having the intentions to do so. But later on, along the years, those places became very developed. And today, I think Yerucham is doing its shift, really doing a special move of being a place that people are proud to be part of it and enjoying living there. And there are beautiful houses that are being built in the last few years. And the reason that we are staying here is because we're going to go and taste the special Moroccan cuisine. So many of those women that you see, women that you see in the picture, are Moroccan women that arrived to Israel in the 50s. And for many years, they didn't think that they have anything special in their hands. All they were doing is growing their children, cooking the traditional food, supporting the house, didn't work outside, didn't have any academic background, or didn't even know, some of them didn't know the alphabet. And they felt a bit bitter about it because they didn't have the opportunity to finance themselves. They were very dependent on their men. And also they saw themselves as nothing special because all I know is just how to cook food like my mother. And in the last few years, there's a new project that actually show them that what they have in their hands and the knowledge is amazing, because not a lot of people know how to cook so good, but also to keep the tradition and all the secrets from the cooking from Morocco, from their houses. And it became the Queens of Yerucham. So instead of going to a restaurant, we're going to be hosted in one of the houses of the women, and we're going to eat a lot of really amazing food that was cooked all day long. And it's not only a way to finance those women, that they're now much more independent because they have their own job, they have this ability that they can earn money by themselves, but also they realize that people appreciate what they do because it's not so common to cook such a good food. And I would say that you can see that the Moroccan dinner is very, very luxurious, lots of salads, lots of spices. We have a Moroccan couscous that is not what people think. By the way, I just realized when we had a conversation before that a lot of people think the Moroccan couscous is what we call Israelis ptitim. It's like little big round things that look like pasta, but the couscous is much more delicate. And I hope that you will actually taste it soon, and you will realize that the Moroccan couscous, it's much more special. You usually eat it with a very good soup. And I hope that, with that, we're gonna finish today. If you have any questions about what we visit today, you're welcome to do so. And if not, we have much more to continue on until we get all the way to the north part of Israel. So Jason, would you like to share with me some of the questions from the audience?
Yeah, thank you, Karmit. Now, this one I believe may have been more intended for Noah, but you might be able to help. With such a long shared border and climate with Jordan neighboring the Arava, do you know how much information or knowledge exchange is actively happening?
With knowledge, what you mean, with the Jordanians?
Yeah.
So this is really interesting because there are some parts that were, as we saw in the Arava Institute, this is a place that actually specifically attracting people to work together from both sides. I would say that most of the farmers are private farmers. They are not dealing with politics. They are not having too much in common from the other side. But something that is very special is that we have one institute that is called, no, I forgot the name for a second, ACAT, sorry. And that's an institute that are taking all kinds of people from Asia, you know, Thailand and Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, a lot of people that are coming from Asia because they want to work in agriculture in Israel. And it's a win-win situation because the farmers need people that are willing to work in the hot sun and work hard and not just to be, you know, Israelis are into high tech, into thinking, sitting in front of the computer, inventions, things like that. If they are putting their hands on in the dirt, they're doing that usually for a few months after they finish their army service. They're doing it for a year and that's it. They continue on. They are not doing it for a long time. And the farmers realize that they need extra help with people that are learning the methods, doing it and continuing for a few years. And in the same time, there was a high demand from Asia, from people that wanted to work in a Western country to learn new techniques, to earn a lot of money so they can send it back to their families. And we have thousands of people from Asia that are coming to the Arava and working. And then we established this special international school that the people are coming and actually learning. It's not only that they are working, they're, I would say, cheap labor. It's not that. They're actually really learning, taking the knowledge with them and bring it back to their homeland. And they're actually getting scholarship from their countries, from Nepal, from Cambodia, that are encouraging them to come back with this agricultural knowledge and giving them benefits so they can come and start their own farm in the country. And this is something very special because not only that we're sharing knowledge, but also we are having international relationship with countries that diplomatically we don't have with them. So this is like an underground bridge that is connecting.
Fantastic, thank you. And one final question. Could you show us where about approximately Mount Karkom is?
Yes.
And additionally, do you know if it is currently an active archaeological site?
You mean, is it still been excavated?
Yes.
So Emmanuel Inati is still coming every year and looking around and I would say doing research, but it's not digging because everything is on the surface. But it's still every year, I'm going to share the map. There are like missions that are coming and learning the site and they're discovering more and more. You can see Mount Karkom here in the red dot. It's really close to the border with Sinai. One of the problems that it's not an active digging site is because it's very far and it's closed army area. That means that, for example, if I want to hike there, usually I can do it only in Passover and maybe another 10 days that they open it or on the weekend. Like you need to have special permission from the army to drive to it and then you need to walk. So even if I take, as we took a Jeep tour, it takes us a few hours just to reach to the mountain and then climb to it. So if you want to do a study, you need to take a few days and that usually opens only in the springtime in the vacation of Passover. And it's it's like 10 kilometers from the border with Sinai. So with Egypt. So that's it.
All right, that's it for questions. Karmit, thank you so much. That was fantastic. I really especially enjoyed the part on Mount Karkum. It's fascinating. For our attendees, if you would like to learn more about the people, places, and things we've encountered in today's program, we have curated additional resources that you can check out on our website. The link will be provided in chat where you can find recipes and more. We have one more surprise before we say goodbye. As you know, we have not had a shaliach in our community this year as a result of the pandemic. But I am happy to announce that we will have a new shaliach starting in August, and he just so happens to be in Cincinnati this week for an orientation visit. He will be moving to Cincinnati with his family in August, and I'd like to introduce you to Yarden Ne'eman. Yarden, welcome. How was your visit to Cincinnati?
Yeah, well, hello everyone. It's really nice to meet you all in virtual, So my name, just like you've heard, my name is Yarden Ne'eman, and I will be the new Shaliach from the Jewish Agency for Israel to Cincinnati community. I will be arriving with my wife and son in August. I've been here for a few days and already felt the warmth welcome that this amazing community can provide to newcomers here. So I'm very, very excited to be here and can't wait to meet all of you when I'll be here for the next 2 years or so. I hope you enjoy the little things that you saw on the last hour or so. I'll do my best trying to bring Israel to you too, and hope you had a good time and nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Yarden. We are looking forward to having you as a part of our community. I hope you've all enjoyed today's adventure, brought to you by the Jewish Federation's Israel and Overseas Programming Committee, Trish Joseph, Holly Wolfson, Lowell Lustig, Dory Singer-Zoot, Lior Zoref, Molly Pulaski, Dikla Karitos, Jennifer Smilg, and staffed by Jennifer Clark. Please keep an eye out for a survey about today's tour in your email. We will appreciate your feedback greatly. We're looking forward to seeing you on part 2 of our 6-part adventure. It will be taking place on July 11th at the same time. Shalom y'all and lehitraot.